Has enough. It's no good. The 4-game losing streak is over, and the Browns win today.
We needed that win bad. Next thing we know, we're going to be lining up against Pittsburgh. So.
Minkah Fitzpatrick has done it again.
That was mean, but it was required.
Tonight's the night. The Browns take on an AFC North opponent tonight when Pittsburgh comes to town. These Steelers are on a 4-game winning streak while the Browns were able to end their 4-game losing streak with a win over Buffalo on Sunday. I want you all to keep this in mind. Mayfield asked fans after the game to please try and keep it down, as in keep it quiet, while the Cleveland offense is on the field. Mayfield's request stems from the Browns' failed drive at the end of the first half against the Bills. Basically, he wants the whole arena to treat it like tennis or golf. Damian Woody in the house.
How you guys doing?
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Stephen A., I'll start with you. Do you have a problem with Baker's request?
I mean, I say it out. I don't care, but I mean, to answer the question directly, if I had to pick one of the two, yeah. I mean, listen, it's one thing to go up to the line of scrimmage and wave them down like most quarterbacks would do. It's another thing entirely to talk to the media and to have the media send a message to the fans as if somehow it's their fault that you've thrown 12 interceptions this year, that you're completing about 59% of your passes or 60% of your passes on the season, that you got a 3-6 record right now. It's their fault, huh? No, I'm not saying he said that literally, of course not. But, when you sit there, when you say things like that, you might give them a reason to believe that you're looking at them as contributing to the kind of struggles that you may have had. Now, of course, he didn't say that directly or whatever. I'm just talking about how people will interpret things. Once again, Baker Mayfield just won a football game, and news is being made because of something other than what actually took place on the field. And what I mean by that is, of course, he's talking about what transpired on the field in terms of the fans' role and what have you and their noise. But you're making headlines for something other than just winning football games. And I just think he needs to stop. I think that what happens is that he's just going to draw more and more attention to himself, and it's going to heighten the level of scrutiny that comes in his direction. And as a result, it's going to make him act a bit cantankerous against other people like he did to the reporter a few weeks ago. He brings it on himself with some of the things that he says, and I just think he needs to stop until he's a bit more productive.
This is low-hanging fruit if you want to clown Baker Mayfield, obviously. You're having a terrible season. You have a lot of offensive weapons, or at least on paper you do. They haven't always been on the field. You're not seeing an Odell Beckham Jr. with a game on the line and single coverage, stuff like that. Okay, now he's pointing the finger. It's easy to clown him. I'm not going to do that right now because there's maybe a better way to handle it. But he was asked for clarification about the comment. Like, was he talking about Bills fans there, or was he talking about his own fans? No, he said it was just the fact that when we're on offense, we needed to be quiet. I might have ruffled some feathers once again. That's okay. When we're on offense on a critical down, we need to have silence in our home stadium. It's got to be an advantage for us. And when they get the ball, it's got to be really loud. It's just basic football. He's not wrong about that. Whether or not you feel like there's some finger pointing, he's right about that. And I got to tell you something else. It's not disrespectful to Browns fans. He's like, I understand the dog pound is an educated football culture, right? And I have a ton of respect for Cleveland football fans who've had nothing to root for decades and still show up and still have all that enthusiasm and really got a franchise called the Browns back in Cleveland once they were gone. That was a grassroots movement in Cleveland. I don't find like he's disrespecting them, like he's saying something bad about them. He's saying we all need to be in this together. Coaching staff, players, and y'all, right? Like everyone. Is there a better way to do it? Does it sound like not taking responsibility? I get all that. Easy to clown, low-hanging fruit. But I'm not going to do it today because I think actually, in terms of the content, he's right.
What he said, it's not really a big issue, okay? The fact that he wants the home crowd to be quiet. But I think the bigger point, and Max just alluded to it, is the fact that we're actually talking about this, his whole comment is an issue in and of itself. And the fact of the matter is, The crowd wasn't responsible for Baker Mayfield throwing 12 interceptions. The crowd's not responsible for the Browns being one of the most penalized teams in the league, which to me leads to coaching and discipline. The crowd's not responsible for the team being 3-6 right now. So again, my thing with Baker Mayfield is this. Focus on the things that you can control, okay? You can't control some of these things that he's talking about. Focus on trying to win a football game instead of talking about things that it's just out of your realm right now. Because all we're going to do is we're going to come back, and it's just a cycle with Baker Mayfield. We keep talking about what he said instead of what actually matters, and that's the actual football game.
You know, you talk about the penalties. And sure, of course, the players have to take responsibility, like watch the ball and all that stuff. But Chris Hubbard, who's an offensive tackle, said it was so loud, and he committed a penalty on the play that they're talking about. So loud, he thought he heard a hut. They're at home, you know, like so it's on him, it's on the players. But Damian, even when you say it's not the crowd's fault, you're right, it's not their fault, but that's supposed to be, like Baker's pointing out, it's supposed to be an advantage, guys. If it's Bills fans, that's one thing. But if it's our fans, you're taking away something like, don't we all want to win this thing?
But stop it. Because the reason I'm telling you to stop it, there's a way to say stuff, man. You talking to the fans and chastising them. I'm talking about Baker Mayfield here. Who the hell do you think you are? You're 3-6. By the way, when you were on the road, okay, is that why you lost to New England? Is that why you got blitzed in San Francisco? Is that why you lost to the Denver Broncos? Is that why you did that? Okay, because you were on the road. And because you got to remember, when you're talking about being on your home turf and the noise being an impediment to your success, well, again, if I'm a road team and I know that you're coming into town, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to do everything that I can to disrupt you, because clearly you just admitted to the world that it actually works, because obviously the noise at home is something that bothers you. That's just idiotic. And oh, by the way, you have one of the best running backs in football right now. I got news for y'all. Nick Chubb is real.
Nick Chubb is real.
This brother, that's not my point, because I'm not even considering Kareem Hunt yet, because as good as I know he is, your behind just got back off the commissioner's exempt list. I'm not thinking about you right now. I'm thinking about Nick Chubb, who's been there every game and's been flat out balling. I'm thinking about Odell Beckham Jr., who Max Kellerman called maybe the greatest talent at the wide receiver spot. I'm thinking about a Jarvis Landry, who can ball. Excuse me, there's a whole bunch of things to overcome the noise. Why would you say that of you, Baker Mayfield?
Yeah.
It's
That's
ridiculous.
That's a great point. It really just highlights that he's thin-skinned. Stephen A. and Max are going to make their picks on this game coming up a little later in the show. But, Damian, why we have you here, even though you're sticking around for a bit, who do you have tonight?
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Why? You see the job Mike Tomlin doing coaching right now? I mean, he's going to be in the Coach of the Year conversation, no doubt.
He should get, if it ended today, he should get coach.
Yeah.
And they're getting James Conner back. All right, guys, when we come back, will Colin Kaepernick's